Deep Purple,
Aerosmith, Leonard Skinner,
Rush,
Ted Nugent,
Pink Floyd,
ZZ Top,
UFO,
Neil Young,
Pete Townshend.
classic rock.
then, like finding, like with our Spirit of the Radio. And, I'm thinking, I'm learning it like that. And not, because you can't hear the open strings. I'm just saying my ear didn't know at the time.
What was the bass line, the riff, whatever, that made you want to pick up the instrument?
This is funny because there's a couple of them that really made me want to play. There was the Rush thing, of course, or the Free Will, right? It goes on and on, you know the song.
Then I discovered more progressive music, and Neil Peart was my guy. I mean, he was my hero. Through all my teenage years, I became the biggest Rush fanatic, learning all of Neil's parts. And like John Bonham, Neil had all these legendary drum parts. The intro to Lakeside Park. Of course, the Big Fill at the beginning of the 2112 Temples of Syrinx is a classic. Of course, you know this one. And then the drum fills in the middle, of course. And the big one. So it was all those really cool Neil Peart isms that I cut my teeth on. That's how I learned how to play a big drum kit, play progressive music, play odd time signatures, and for so many years, Neil was my biggest drum hero.
Geddy Lee, best bass player ever.
Say, Geddy Lee.
Who's Geddy Lee?
Geddy Lee, best bass player ever. Come on.
When I listened to 2112, man, that was that whole first side is what. Just that riff alone, is f***ing great, and then also he's got just those riffs are great, and stuff like that. You can always add your own flavor in there, but yeah, the early Rush stuff is fantastic, and it was huge on me. Those are some of the albums that that I spent time trying to learn their stuff. Was Rush, Kiss, Metallica.
So the first riff I ever learned was actually from Hey Hey My My, Neil Young, and I'd gone over to Kevin Moore's house. Kevin Moore was the original keyboard player in Dream Theater. We were best friends growing up on Long Island. He lived right around the corner. He was having a jam session, and they needed somebody to play the guitar line, and I don't remember who taught it to me. I learned it and was struggling, couldn't play it, but it was the first thing I learned was the Neil Young riff.
Were there any other Deep Purple riffs that inspired me? Pretty much all of them, because Richie Blackmore was he's one of my favorite guitar players of all time, and one of the best songwriters of all time. I mean, all the Rainbow shit. I don't remember it. All Sorry, it's been a long time. Burn. Oh yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. Everything on Machine Head I thought was amazing. His solos are always great, but his songwriting and the arrangements are awesome. Riffage is awesome. If you haven't ever gotten into Deep Purple, it's a treasure trove of awesomeness. It's where a lot of guys were inspired back in the 70s, late 60s, 70s. Richie Blackmore was great.
My hero's Richie Blackmore, Ted Nugent's one of my heroes. Not politically, but guitar-wise, is one of my heroes, right? And I'm able to separate the two. People go, that dude, Gary Holt, doesn't like Ted's opinions. I love his riffs. That's all that matters, right? We're musicians.
Yep.
And I still follow Ted, the guitar player. Because, he was bigger than life to me, as a kid. Before I played guitar, the guy looked like he was like 9 feet tall, And they're playing, cat scratch fever, Something like that,
Yeah.
Something like that. We covered that song years later. But, I love that shit. But, Richie Blackmore's my hero. And, I remember the first time I heard the first Rainbow album, Man on the Silver Mountain, just fucking so awesome. Tune up for it. It's fucking awesome shit,
When you got your first guitar, what was the first song that you felt like, man, I got the guitar, I have to learn how to play this song?
God, I couldn't tell you. When I developed the ability to actually sort of learn the songs, it was always Rainbow, Stargazer. Gates of Babylon.
When I started playing guitar, it seemed everybody was better than me. So, kind of like on the stage here. So I decided that who did I like? Who was the person that kind of was the guy that I could find something that would inspire me? And it was Pete Townshend. And one of the, I guess from Pinball Wizards, I can see for miles, my generation actually, how simple is that? So it's just a guitar, but it's about the song, and I always thought that, his leads were always served the song. So I concentrated on rhythm and songwriting, and that's where I ended up being as a musician. And the interesting thing is, talking about Gibson, Pete played Gibsons. He played a lot of different guitars, but Live at Leeds is an SG standard. And it always goes back to Gibson for me, for that kind of sound. And his sound was not distorted. It was kind of clean, but it was always the way he hit it, kind of like Malcolm, the way he played, right? It was hitting your guitar, and that's what inspired me. Just to be a great rhythm player, a great songwriter, and to make great records. So that's my version of it. What inspired me.
There was always... Ted Nugent was a favorite. Stranglehold, and I think hearing Aerosmith was a little bit. If they weren't, their songs weren't too easy. You couldn't just bust into a Dream On right off the bat. Humbukin was kind of easy, so you could jam along with that.
So the first riff I ever learned as a kid was Aerosmith's Walk This Way. I was obsessed with Aerosmith when I was younger. My mom got me a guitar, got me lessons. I started studying with this guy, Jay Williston, and he taught me the intro riff. Yeah, I loved Walk This Way as a kid. It had that cool, groovy drum intro, and that first riff just really caught my ear.
Some of my favorite riffs to play while learning the guitar were actually more classic rock. Lynyrd Skynyrd was a huge influence to me.
Totally into ZZ Top too. And this is my favorite ZZ Top riff, which of course I learned in the wrong position, but it's too late to go back now because I'm old. Just got paid. See, that sells it right there. Billy Gibbons.
Okay, it's funny because my mom is actually a drummer. So she grew up, I grew up in like a southern rock household. My mom played in like bars, all that other fun stuff. And then she was like, honey, you should learn how to play guitar. And I was like, Mom, I don't know if I really want to play guitar. So she basically forced me into doing it. I ended up loving her for it, But it was just the straight up A. And I was like, wait, that sounds like that ZZ Top song I heard out of my mom's thing over and over and over again. So it's like Marsh Tucker Band, ZZ Top, Lynyrd Skynyrd. That's like where I thrive. But I was a kid and I was like, holy shit, I can play guitar.
So one of the first riffs or songs that I came across on the guitar would have almost certainly been Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. It's one of my favourite songs still to this day, and it's largely down to my dad really, because he was a huge Pink Floyd fan and he would pretty much exclusively listen to Pink Floyd in the house, so I had no chance but to be a fan. This song is one of their simpler songs. It's largely based around G and E minor in the open position, which are two very important chords when you're first starting out.
Another huge influence on me was Michael Schenker and UFO, and I love the Only You Can Rock Me. What was so great about that song, and the solo is like an anthem. It's so melodic in that song, and Michael Schenker's ability to mix really nasty blues with melody was just, he's like nobody else. I love the riff from Pack It Up and Go. Just nasty riff, and then he comes in with that cracked wah sound, I love that.
Stuff like UFO, I started really getting into and shit like a. Bottom by UFO there.
My first riff that I ever learned was and my hands were like, Love is Like Oxygen. After that, I just started, I think it was Def Leppard. And they weren't really like the super metal band, but everybody was playing this riff.
Great riff,
Out of tune there, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then as it got more complicated, I started learning more single note stuff, and Rock Bottom was a big one. That was a big one for me. I was like, I learned that at Skeller.